If you're interested in buying properties subject to the existing mortgage, then I want to share with you a simple underwriting technique for doing that. I'm going to assume you already know what subject to investing is. If you don't know, you need to learn it. And if you've learned the basics of subject to, but you've never done a subject to deal, then there are a lot of nuances and moving parts that you have to take into consideration. So with this simple underwriting technique, I am assuming that you know, and there are a lot of things that I'm not discussing. So I don't want you to watch this and think, oh, it's just as simple as that. No, it's not just as simple as that. I'm just referring to a simple underwriting technique. So for example, if you run across a seller and they say they're open to selling you their home subject to, and you only have a quick few minutes to do some preliminary underwriting, what are the main data points that you can use? Well, this is the simple underwriting technique I'm giving you based on just 3 areas of data points that if you put them together within a few minutes, this simple underwriting technique will give you a good idea of whether or not it's a good deal or a bad deal. Again, assuming that there are no underlying issues that you've yet to find out. So let's look at the simple underwriting technique for subject to. First thing I want to gather is data on the loan balance. And again, I'm assuming that there's no liens, partial claims, or things that are hidden that I don't know about until I look at a mortgage statement or do a title search. But just on the surface, loan balance, and then I'm going to put the loan balance against the ARV, the after repair value, or the resale value. So that could be a little different, because if it's the ARV, that's based on you fully renovating the home and then reselling it. If it's the resale value, it may be its current condition. It may be outdated. But either way, you're going to take these 2 numbers to determine what type of equity spread is in the middle. Okay? So how are you going to find the loan balance? Well, if you're talking to the seller, it's just a matter of asking them for a recent mortgage statement. Or maybe they have a portal online that you can get access to and take a look at it. Again, it might not show you liens and things that are hidden, but just to give you a rough idea. Now, you can also look on PropWire, which is free, PropStream, Batch Leads. They'll give you a rough estimate of what the algorithm on that platform believes is the loan balance. It's not always accurate, but it can give you somewhat of a estimated idea. Okay, you could go to Zillow, or if you have a real estate agent can run comps on that particular property to give you an idea of what properties that are fully renovated are selling for and what the comps are, what the comparables are in that area. In today's world, you could go to platforms like Zillow, Redfin, maybe Trulia, to get an idea of what comps are selling in the area. You can really dial in on some really good numbers, because I want to determine if there's an equity spread at all. Then I want to look at the PITI, that's the total mortgage statement, and I want to put the PITI against the rent value. And again, the same platforms you found this, you can find this to determine what the rent value is and what the PITI, so I can determine what my cash spread is. Just those 2 data points alone play a big role in your underwriting, because if the loan balance is, let's say, $200,000 and the ARV is $350, but the resale value in its current condition is $300, and the loan balance is $2, I know that there's an equity spread of anywhere between $100,000 and $150,000. Now, there may be other things that come up, but at least I see that there's wiggle room. Okay, and this is like back of the napkin underwriting techniques. If the PITI, the mortgage with taxes, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, if it's, let's say, $1,300 a month, and the rent value is $2,300, I know that there's a $1,000 cash spread. So it's just a great data point. Now, secondly, what do you want to look at? you want to look at the COA. Some people refer to it as the COE. This is an abbreviation of cost of acquisition or cost of entry. So I want to determine what is the total cost of entry. And there are about 7 points that's going to help you determine that. So it's going to be money to the seller. I don't even know if I'm going to have room to write all this out. It's going to be money to the seller. It's going to be reserves. It's going to be arrears if the house is in foreclosure. So that's 3. It's going to be closing costs, agent, wholesaler, or your acquisition team fees. It's going to be, let's see here. We got agents and wholesalers. We got closing costs. We got carrying costs. So you're going to take all 7 of those points to determine what is the total dollar amount it's going to cost for me to acquire that particular property. And then here, number 3, you have the COD, which is the cost of disposition. Am I flipping this property? Am I renting this property? Am I doing some other creative deal like a lease option or a wrap? I want to determine what my cost of disposition is, because if you're flipping that property, let's say at the ARV of 350, well, you're going to have to reverse engineer that 350, deduct 9 to 10% for commissions and closing costs, maybe holding costs. You're going to have to deduct the loan balance that still exists when you sell it. You're going to have to deduct the amount of money you put in here for your cost of entry. But just these 3 points alone are simple underwriting techniques. Again, I want to know, number 1, loan balance against ARV or resale value. Then I want to look at the PIT against the rent value. That's going to help me determine my equity spread and my cash spread, if any. Number 2, I want to look at the cost of acquisition or the cost of entry. What is the total dollar amount between what the seller gets, what reserves I need, arrears, agents or wholesalers or my team, closing costs, carrying costs. I want to put that total number together to determine how much cash do I need to bring to the table to actually close on this property. And then I want to look at my cost of disposition. How much is it going to cost for me to flip it? Or if I rent it, what are the costs associated to renting it? And then what my return on investment is going to be based on flipping or renting. Again, this is not everything. This is just a simple underwriting technique, particularly for subject to deals, in which you can use this for seller finance or any conventional deals. If you need more information, we have underwriting workshops. We have all the worksheets. We really help our students and mentees learn the ins and outs of not just creative real estate investing, but I believe they have to be, and you have to be, very skilled at underwriting, because that's where a lot of the money is. And if you know how to underwrite correctly, you can make a lot of money and make other people a lot of money. I'll see you in the next video.